This is Goldie and you're in tune and you're listening to DJsounds here on the website, live, kicking down live from the Arches. Metalhead's 15th year anniversary in London Bridge. God bless you. Peace. 15 years of Metalheadz, bloody hell, that makes me really old and ancient. Yeah, it's you know, as a brand, it's been here from day one really, and you know, it's really good that we've seen the technology change over the years as well. So I find it quite strange from playing vinyl like 10 years ago and now, you know, getting really very quickly used to CDJs, which I think most DJs play now because we all got fed up of people losing our records, you know. But yeah, it's really good. 15 years, man. It's a good milestone, you know. I mean, I've been doing a lot of classical stuff this last 2 years, and Sine Tempora was the thing I just got commissioned to do for BBC, for the concert orchestra. And then next year I'm doing we're doing the entire double album of Timeless for orchestra, which is going to be very, very interesting. So I'm reorchestrating and renotating the entire album for youth orchestra, and we're working with the Bays and the Heritage Orchestra, and basically just working out the project and performing at the end of the year next year. I think the whole Timeless project, after that we'll get into the whole theatre production for Mother. But first and foremost is let's get the Timeless project, because a lot of people, you know, 50 years of Metalheadz is now 50 years of Timeless at the end of next year, because obviously Metalheadz came before the kind of album got released, and so the end of next year will be perfect timing to do the Timeless project. To be quite honest, I think D&B has gone through a phase like most genres. You know, you've got dubstep now, which is the kind of the legitimate child of drum and bass. You know, we were the bastard child of rave, you know, and dubstep is like the legitimate child. But I think D&B is always going to have its significance in this country because it's part of the fabric of this country. And I remember speaking to KRS-One in New York, and he was saying that, you know, New York is no longer in New York, it's around the world, and I think D&B is pretty much the same. I mean, it's still here in England, but we kind of spread it across the globe. But I think there's still some fresh new names like Dubai, Lensman, Spy, you know, and there's always going to be these new fresh artists. And I think Metalheadz generally, we are very, very under the radar. We play a lot of underground music. We're not really into the commercial aspect of that. Not saying there's anything wrong with that. I think things can be commercial, but I think it has to have integrity. And so I think it's Metalheadz stroke equals integrity. One of the most interesting territories to work in is Russia. Russia's amazing. They've got a massive D&B scene, and it's really out there, man. I mean, Russia, Japan. I mean, these are, you know, countries that you wouldn't think this music existed. I mean, let's face it. As far as genres go, we're at the bottom of the pecking order. You know, like drum and bass is like, you know, down here in terms of like the money we make or whatever else. But the difference is that we're you know, we're kind of the Robin Hood of the music industry. You know, we kind of cater for a kind of lost generation, really, which is kind of important to my whole kind of vibe. You know, I'm Renaissance. You know, I'm really. It took me a long time. I think last year I kind of finally worked out what I do, and it's basically I practice alchemy. You know, I'm an alchemist. At the end of the day, I practice the dark arts in terms of alchemy. You know, I work with a lot of different mediums, and I was always trying to figure out why do I work with so many different mediums. Whether it's acting, music, DJing, painting, classical kind of music, and I just find my solace, I find my peace in music and art, generally, and I don't know where I get the time to do it, man. I really don't, but I enjoy it. I enjoy the best, and you know, going forward, I don't know, for the next 20 years probably I'll keep going until I, you know, finally croak. I think working with a lot of the classical world, people within the classical world are always stuck in this groove, and a lot of people within that world I'm working with now, and I'm trying to kind of change their point of view, which is no different than me changing an engineer's point of view. So I mean, there's a lot of interesting artists coming up now that I'm going to work with, but I think it's I mean, Travis from gym class out of America, I'm going to be working with him soon. You know, Gym Class Heroes, which is a really strange combination, but he's a guy that, you know, respects us from the old school, and he was around in the early years of us going to America and stuff. So he's a guy that I'm going to be working with next year. But I just love working with creative people, man. I'm very much into making a very visual map of music that I make. I'm very old school, and as an artist, you know, I never go in there blind. As a producer, I'm very old school, so I kind of draw a map of the track of what I want it to do and how I want it to change. I make it very visual because I work with engineers. So you have to be seancic, you have to kind of raise those deities and kind of let the creative side come through. So I always tend to have a good map to show people how I want to work. I remember having a conversation with Chris once in Newcastle. I was saying, look, you know, vinyl's dying, and I was saying, you know, people don't play people aren't playing the music anymore, the records anymore. And he said that's the exact point. We're not selling records, we're selling music. So it doesn't matter what format your music's being played on. And I kind of went away and thought about that. And I thought, shit, he's actually got a really valid point, because it doesn't matter what you play it on, and if what you're playing the music on is going to give you consistency, then that's what CDJs do for us, you know? I mean, I found that with CDs that more than Serato, I find Serato a bit annoying because I don't look at a computer screen trying to work out what I'm playing. You know, with a CD I can mark it, I can write on it, and I kind of know what a CD is, and I know where it is in the wallet, do you know what I mean? You become kind of, you kind of make almost a new map of what your layout is. And with CDs, if something goes wrong, I remember playing with Groove Rider at Watergate in Germany, and my records never turned up. And I literally went to I had my computer with me, and I burned all my entire set. And it was one of the first times I was forced to play CDJs. I played the best set I played all year, and you know, that kind of sold it for me that, you know, that was the way forward really. And it's just more convenient, you know. It's there's no feedback. You know, you're going to get the clarity of the music is there, and it's just no hassle. I still apply the same methods, but the technology now that's arrived to change the way that we make music is arrived now. It's the amount of plugins you can use now, and the amount of effects you can use. We used to have to manually do this on a desk with sweeps, record to DAT, send the DATs back into a desk, double track beats, double track basses. You can get programs to do this now. So I find it fascinating the way that technology is now caught up. I mean, the way that Pioneer have come forward and the way that they've done. I mean, a CDJ really is probably, for me, the single best invention up there with iPod. You know, you've got a thing that feels like a record deck, but you can actually manipulate the music with it when you're playing that. And I'm finding out things every day, you know, locking tracks and reversing effects and different things. And that's what's I find quite fascinating, because I think that technology is now savvy now. It's a lot more hands-on than it used to be. People with conceptual ideas now have more time to, you know, with Ableton now you can do different things, and you know, I think it's a really important thing that, you know, since Techniques came out, nothing really broke the market, and they're irreplaceable in that sense. But when you look at the way that the CDJs now, I've got like 4 defunct Techniques now, you know what I mean? And you know, CDJs which will last me for a very long time, and I'll find new ways and new methods to work with my music. So hats off to you guys.